is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, August 8th, 2019, Season 15, Episode number 23. Welcome to another edition of The Break. We are live from Oxnard, California. The crowd is starting to settle in. Cowboys are going to have a morning practice this morning starting up at 10:45 Pacific time. It is their last practice before they head to San Francisco to take on the 49ers in their first preseason game of the 2019 season. These guys will get you prepared for that throughout this show. We've got a lot of topics we're going to hit. We got a little bit of a transaction. We had a transaction yesterday we'll talk a little bit about. Later in the show, I do want to talk about this offensive line. That's going to be our bigger topic of the show and kind of where everything sits there. But before we do that, let's first start off talking a little bit about Lance Lenoir, wide receiver that was released yesterday. Talk to me about kind of what happened with him and what kind of the overall, because it's not just a typical, like, you release the guy, he's gone forever. Talk to me about what really happened.
We might see him around, I guess, like in the lunch area or something for years. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Now, he's released, and if he's not claimed off waivers because he was injured with a knee injury, he will revert back to the injured reserve. So therefore, and I think you could stay with the team and rehab. But
what is his injury?
It's a knee. It's like a sore knee, sprained knee. I mean, I don't think it was anything that needed surgery or anything.
Yeah, and that's – I don't even know how to put it, but that's something that you see kind of happen with guys on the bottom of the depth chart. Like Cedric Wilson last year is a great example. Sprained his shoulder. Although, I mean, he needed surgery and he was in a sling and stuff, but they put him on injured reserve. And you ended his season by doing that because the alternative was to release him and open him up to be snatched up by 31 other teams. So you see that happen with younger guys. This obviously is a little bit different because they did cut Lance, but they could easily bring him back to develop with them, and he'll go on the shelf for the season, but better than not having any work, I guess.
My suspicion is based upon what we've been talking about on this show. He was not a guy that necessarily you guys thought would make the team, right, Amber?
I mean, they like him for some reason. I don't see. No, okay, stop.
They do. They like him.
Let me be nice. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay?
No, and you weren't being mean.
But,
you're giving it.
But he's just a guy that, you know, I've watched in practice, and you see him show up. Like, he'll flash here and there, but then when it comes down to the game, he doesn't really show up. And how long has he been here for?
This is his third year.
Third year. I don't know. I don't see it. He doesn't excite me that much, but he does have something that, for whatever reason, the scouts like him and the coaches like him. So we'll see what happens with him. It's unfortunate that happened at this point because of all the competition that's at the wide receiver position. You don't have any chance to be getting hurt right now. You get hurt and you're forgotten very quickly because these guys, there's a lot of talent right there.
Right.
I think the reason, if you're looking for a reason why they like him, it's the classic, the more you can do. He's a smart guy. He's got the athleticism. He knows all three of the main positions in the offense. He can play inside and out, and he can do a lot on special teams, whether that's flyer, whether that's punt return, all that good stuff. If you're not a starter, the more stuff you can do, that type of stuff endears you to coaches and scouts. I think that's why they like Lance. And he obviously, over the years, he's flashed the potential to make really impressive plays. Never able to put it together on a consistent basis. It kind of reminds me of Rico a little bit. Like, Rico and Lance are two guys that have been kicking around the roster with a minor role for a few years now, and they're both gone within a couple of days of each other.
On Twitter yesterday, a reporter said, the Lance Lenoir era is over in Dallas. And he responded with a quote tweet that said, "It's not, though. Know your facts before you start tweeting with ya fingers."
Yeah, finger.
with your fingers.
Trigger fingers do turn to Twitter fingers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an old adage.
They got a little ahead of themselves on that
It's a
report.
tale as old as time.
Well, I mean, it was after he was cut, and so it was like
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you don't know all the details of, was he cut or does he return if he's, if he's not. That's the whole
there
part.
are
like,
77 lists you can put a player on.
Right.
And one of them is, he can injure reserve. You don't have to do anything. Waived injured means we really don't want you on our roster.
Got it, but he might end up right back on their roster. So
it's a classic move. We're going to see it 18 times this year where Will McClay or whoever's going to go up to so-and-so and say, we're going to cut you, assuming you clear the waivers, which we think you will. You'll be right back here on Tuesday morning. So
Right,
that
but I'm
wouldn't
just
surprise
saying
me.
the chances of him playing for the Cowboys
Oh.
are really very, very, very as slim as he is.
That's true.
right,
That part I agree
That's
with.
probably true, but he could end up right
But
back on the roster, though, right?
For a variety of reasons, you see those
IR.
things.
What roster are you talking about?
IR. He ends
Okay,
up back
okay,
on the team,
okay.
Back
on their injured reserve list.
as a part of the club.
Yes. He will be in, as Dave said, we'll see him at lunch.
Will
No,
he
Nick said
wear
that.
a
Oh, Nick said
star?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
he'll-
over his gym shorts
On
and
his-
hats and everything.
Before,
We're not giving you what you want.
Before the show,
Fine.
we were talking about patience and how. See, I don't have the patience really to wait around too much. Like once that third year hits, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't really know what the time limit is for, like, how long do you give a guy to actually start showing you what you need? I don't know. Do you guys know?
There's no baseline for that. It depends on how much money you spent on him, how much he's shown you, how
What
much
you
of
have
a,
at the position.
how much you have at the position, how much of a pain in the butt he is, like off the field, away from football, all that good stuff. I mean, that's, like, not to bring him back up, like Taco, I understand why people are impatient with a first-round pick. Lance Lenore, undrafted free agent, whatever. Like that's
Right.
and he's shown some stuff. Like I don't judge those two things similarly. So I'm just like, Lance can be here, he can't be here. It doesn't really affect
And we've
me
talked-
one way or the other.
We've talked about it on this show, the whole, whether it was Parcells or Landry. I think you just mentioned it the other day, that had the philosophy that I think a lot of coaches and a lot of personnel guys around the league have. It's like 3 to 4 years. And once you get to that point, if you're not seeing it from those guys, it's like a Rico. You get to 4 years, and if he's not showing you
You were gonna say something.
I didn't know what you were about to say.
You said get the F, and I was like,
I thought
Derek.
you were
Oh,
about
sorry.
to say.
No,
Whoa.
that was not what I was saying. No, I mean, you have 3 or 4 years, and if you get to that 4th year and you're not really showing anything, then it's like at some point you just have to
And
move
there's-
on and assume that if he's going to show it at this point, somebody else is going to have to get it out of him because what you're doing around here isn't working for
And
the
there's
player.
some exceptions to the rule showers.
But see, that's
where you get – go ahead, Dave.
it's a classic case that, like, Jameel Shower, he's never going to play a meaningful snap for the Dallas Cowboys, but I admire the hell out of the way he has carved out a career for himself by, again, the more you can do. Can you play scout team quarterback? Can you be special teams? Do they love having you around because you're such a high character guy? Do you make everybody feel better about themselves, which clearly he does. Like, find a person anywhere out here that has a negative thing to say about Jameel Showers. Like, that type of stuff matters, and he will never – he's not going to dress for a real Cowboys game. But even when he is eventually let go, when this is all said and done, he's out of practice squad eligibility, I'm just not going to be shocked if they find a way to keep him here too because they like having him around.
Philip Tanner.
Absolutely.
Good guys have a way of – Cowboys have a way of keeping them in the family, and I think that's exactly what you're saying here.
If you're good to people and one way or another you can help the football team, they'll find a way to keep you around. And,
Absolutely.
And I have no problem with that. Like, I'm not talking trash on Jameel Showers. I admire it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a little blanket coverage. I have some statements here I'm going to roll out for you guys. You fill in the blanks. Here's the first. Rod Marinelli says of Taco, he's been very impressed with him right now. Been playing hard in there, playing physical, hustling. Just let him keep working. Now, as your statement, I would characterize his camp as blank. Dave.
I would characterize Taco's camp as somewhere in between the super positive reviews you hear from the likes of Rod Marinelli and the super negatives that you hear from fans and media. Like,
that's a whole spectrum, Dave.
He's somewhere in the middle. He is
inconsistent. There's a word
yeah,
for that.
okay. All right, thank you. He's inconsistent. I've seen him put together some really nice rushes. He had 2 sacks 2 days ago. It looked like he got the better of Lyle once or twice yesterday. Like, he's done some stuff. he also, he's still obsessed with the spin move, and he just doesn't flash as consistently or as well as you would expect from a third-year player that was a first-round pick.
Amber.
So, yeah.
I mean, when I heard Ron Marinelli say that, I was shook. Like people say around here, shook. It shook me because I was like, whoa. And coming from a guy like Marinelli, I mean, you have to, you take that into account. What he says matters. So it just confused me a little bit. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't understand what we're supposed to be watching here, but I think I kind of do. So I'm now confused on what you're telling me. I will say this, though. In the past few days, I've seen Taco do some things that at least motivates you to watch him in the preseason, in the season, and hope that he's able to do something. He has started, I think the light came on a little bit, and he has started to progress and do some things and put up a battle rather than being on the ground all the time.
Nick, Taco's camp has been blank.
I think it's skewed by expectations.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I just think now, because we don't know if he'll make the team. And so if he makes a few plays, it's like, oh, okay, hey, maybe he will make the team. The writing's on the wall. I mean, the opportunities are available for him to contribute with the way the defensive end position is shaking out. But I just think that we don't view him the same as a first-round pick that's like, when is he going to make, the Pro Bowl? With Byron Jones, it's like, if he's pretty good, but like first-round pick, he should make the Pro Bowl. And then he finally did, and he lived up to it and maybe surpassed it. But, right now we're wondering if he's going to make the team. So when he makes a big play, you're like, oh, that's pretty good. When in reality, he should be making 4 or 5 of those plays. But he did come off the ball in a drill yesterday that I thought it was as quick as I've ever seen him. It looked like he was shot out of a cannon and went right past 75.
Cam Fleming.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just revert back to players that have been here like 7 years ago. Sometimes I just want to say Darian Weems.
Yeah, I do that too.
Oh, man, Darian Weems. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
I see Antoine Woods and want to say either Kerry Lofton or Willie Blade.
Yeah? Yeah?
Willie Blade played
that?
like 18 years ago for like – he's got a claim to fame that's not so good. Remember that, Hard Knocks?
No.
Yeah, he number 2.
Now,
In practice.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned Antoine Woods, can we talk a little bit about him real quick?
Real quick,
Yeah, sure.
I feel better about Taco's odds of making the team than I did a week ago. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So, I'm not writing his name in Sharpie or anything, but
He's still in pencil.
Pencil?
yeah.
All right.
With an eraser in the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
just in case.
What you got, Amber?
No, I was going to ask you, how Antoine has lost weight and like he's like slimming down, or to me, I haven't watched him a whole ton, but the times I've seen him, I feel like he has kind of lost that power that we're used to seeing from him from like last year. Do you feel the same way that him losing weight has kind of affected the way that he's playing?
We'll find out. I mean, that's a good question. You wonder about that. I've always said I want this big, sloppy-looking guy that's just hard to move.
Well, let's be real. He's still
a big guy,
Yeah.
and I'm
but
saying
He's slimmed down some, but I mean, like when
But
you're
he
talking
might-
about a big plugger in the middle,
he
he
might
still
be
looks
powerful.
like a big guy.
He might
Yeah.
be more, chiseled and powerful.
right,
but
you can put on strength, like muscle strength,
Yeah.
but it just maybe I've seen just the bad ones, and missed the good ones, but it just made me curious to see how that's affecting him in the way he's playing.
Could part of it be also that last year he was going up against Travis, and at the time we didn't know Travis had this syndrome, and so what we were seeing was a little skewed, or very skewed, I would suspect.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking, oh my God, this 99, he's really like he's battling in there, and this year you don't have that same dynamic.
We watched him during the season though, so you've seen him go up against different guys,
Yeah.
and it still seems a little different, but we'll see.
They let Travis get a one-on-one rep for the first time yesterday, and they put him up against Antoine, and I just don't think that was a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't think that
Travis probably asked for that.
or
I'm
the
guessing.
coaches were
Give
like,
me that guy.
Let's see what you
and
got.
Travis handled himself well.
yeah.
He did.
he
He
handled
did.
it.
All right, here's the next statement. Yesterday, much to Nick's delight, we saw flea flickers in practice.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Dose
Here's-
flea flickers.
Here's the thing, though. If I set the over-under on how many times we will see that this year at 3, I take the Nick.
Over 16. I got to go 16.
One a game.
16.
One a game.
I think I'll say over because of what happened with the play. Well, it was a flea flicker, and then we went to Witten, like out in the flat. So we're not necessarily – it's not necessarily, Terry Glenn down the seam for a long touchdown. I mean, sometimes it could be – it doesn't have to be a home run.
It can be a first down.
So right. I think there'll be more than that. I think it'll be kind of – hopefully it'll be a part of the offense a little bit, but I'd say more.
Amber, over, under, 3.
Let's go over. I have hopes in Kellen Moore and what he's doing with the offense and just mixing it up. And when you do that, don't do it once a season. That's not surprising anybody. If you throw it here and there, now you can put that in the back of the head of the other team's coaches, that, the Cowboys might do this here and there. But I would say over 3.
Dave?
I will definitely say over, and I'll tell you why. It wasn't just a short pass to Witten. It was a designed screen. And I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'm not saying Kellen Moore came up with it, but I've never seen that before. And so when you're basing it off different looks, this is also training camp. Like, typically, if you're going to run one trick play, you put that in on Wednesday of game week, and you run it a couple of times during the week. Like, we're going to have the running back throw it. Like, they'll work on that on game week. This is training camp where you're kind of, hey, these are the base concepts and the bread and butter stuff that we want to work on all year. Now, I don't think that means they'll do it every week, but that to me suggests that it's something that they'll look at doing every night, like on a way more regular basis than what we're used to seeing.
And the beautiful part about it is, and Nick has said this many times, there's no bad, you don't have to catch them by surprise, because the point is you don't care about catching them by surprise. What you care about is, I want that safety always thinking. I want those guys always, that line. I want all those guys thinking, go watch the flea flick, watch the flea. Because that helps your offense be that's just one more thing the defense has to be preoccupied with. So it really isn't a matter of a surprise attack or some surprise play as much as it is you have enough stuff to keep teams off balance and they don't know what's coming at any given moment. So they have to stay true to their principles, which opens up opportunities for you.
Yep. What did you said 3.5? Was that your over?
3 was the over.
Over.
If
sure.
you would have said 7.5.
Oh,
I actually thought you guys were, except for Nick, I thought you all were going to say under. And the reason why is because still, until we see it in a season, this offense, what I know of this offense, as long as Jason Garrett's been involved in it, is it does not take a ton of those kinds of chances. Like, they aren't a big, trick play kind of offense. Like, they kind of run their offense. And so until I see it, I kind of think that's nice. It may be in the offense. I don't know if I expect to see it during the regular season, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about this offensive line. We'll dive in a little bit and talk about some of the starters and what we've seen out here from some of these guys who we sometimes take for granted because they're as good as they are. But we're going to break that down a little bit. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you're like me and you love, if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just
get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right. News and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from Oxnard, California. Everyone's out today. The Cowboys have their morning practice at 10:45 a.m. They'll be out here on the field for a couple hours here. Then this afternoon is going to be a walkthrough. That is not open to the public, so if you're in the area and you were meaning to come out to practice, you better hurry and get here. This is the only practice left this week. Next week they will have practices on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I think Thursday is a morning practice, and then we head out for Hawaii. All right, so
Thursday's probably like a morning walkthrough.
I would guess so, but I would assume it's going to be open to the public. But check the website. I know we have more information on that out there. Let's talk about this offensive line. What I wanted to do was I want to go through the starters first, because sometimes we don't spend as much time talking about the starters because it's just kind of taken for granted that they're great, right? But what I want to do is for each guy, I want you guys to answer two questions for me. One, how's he look so far at camp? And two, what is your biggest question mark with regard to that player this season?
Okay.
We got that?
Yep.
All right, so let's start first with the big dog, Tyron Smith. Nick, what's he been like at camp, and what's your biggest question for him this season?
He looks good. He looks ready to go. Don't get hurt. I mean, those are my two things. I answered both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like he is ready to be all-pro, whatever. So if there's something that can keep him from playing till we get to the Giants game, I'm fine for that. I just mean you don't need to I don't need to see anything more. I think he's ready to go.
Only question for you is just, can he stay healthy?
You can say that for everyone, but
right.
with him, with this big old elbow thing.
No, I think it's more prevalent for Tyron just because of the issues that he's had the last 3 years. Yeah. Can he play 16 games and hopefully more without encountering some sort of chronic problem, whether that's the stingers that he dealt with last year, or the back issues, or the knee issues, or he's the bionic man. He's so impressive, but like the list is long, and rightfully so. It's a physical position, so he looks amazing. He looks like he's ready to be all pro. He's got.
Says he feels great.
He's the only question is whether he can hold up.
Amber.
I mean, everything that they both said, it's absolutely right. The only thing, at least I feel okay with the backup position, to where previous years it was a big concern we've seen in the past, how that affected the game and how they sacked Dak Prescott in that game. What was it, like 9 times?
Yeah.
Something like that. So at least if something was to happen.
I forgot about that for a moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that sucked.
But at least if something was to happen, I feel okay with the backup coming in and helping out in the meantime.
All right, the next name.
Hold on, real quick. Do you think Lyle, if he has a good year, will sign? I know I'm not skipping around. I'm really talking about Tyron. Hold on. Do you think Lyle will make more than $10 million a year in a new deal?
Yeah.
Here or just anywhere?
If he has a good season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Tyron has a good season, I think what you need to look at is his contract will be kind of interesting, because he's supposed to make $10 million next year, and 10.5 after that, and 13.5.
It is an underrated storyline how he is helping this team by playing on the deal he's on.
I hope he doesn't go back to the well. They already got enough problems.
I'm just saying.
I don't want more contract
If
talks.
Tyron has a really good year, they need to think about this, or he'll probably be thinking about it.
You know
saying
what?
He's going to be way
But,
underpaid.
I don't know if he will.
If there's a guy that wouldn't,
right,
it might be because when he signed the deal in 2014, everybody was like, "This is really team friendly." Yeah. And he was like, you know what? The Joneses were good to me. I don't want to think about this. I want to get it out of the way. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I wouldn't blame him if he did, but it wouldn't shock me if he was just like, whatever.
I'm just saying.
I'm making enough money. I feel good about where I am financially.
He's on a $100 million deal. Yeah.
But when you look at what that position has become, he's going to be way underpaid.
Oh, and you know what that stuff starts.
Why are you starting drama?
I'm not. I'm just.
But you know that stuff
valid. It's a valid point,
and it's not even Tyron. It'll be the agent that'll be like, "Say, Tyron, did you happen to see what Lyle's making now?" That's because the contract. For the agent, that's how he makes his money is off the player.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know Tyron Smith super well, but I know him. I've dealt with him over the years. He's a great guy. I could imagine him being like, well, I got my money playing for the Cowboys. I love it here. I love this organization and this family. and I'm just not bothered by it. Like
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me.
I agree with you. All right, the next guy I want to talk about, actually, Amber, you spent quite a bit of time with him this offseason. Just so you guys know, there's a little project that Amber's working on with him that's going to be phenomenal. You guys got it. You'll see it. It'll be coming up later this year. But anyway, Connor Williams, talk to me about how he's looked in camp, and what's the biggest question you have for him going into this season?
Biggest question? I don't think I have a question. I'm just ready to see him play. I think he's looked really good. You can tell the strength that he's put on, that he's gained. You can tell that he really worked during this offseason, and that's one of the things that we talk about with him was, you know what, I just needed to get that offseason to be able to put on that strength and that weight and do what the coaches needed me to do. So when you see him up here play, I don't really know the right terms, but he, I guess, stands there, boxes up. Is that there? I don't know. He looks like a box, and he
looks like a box.
He stands there and he blocks you, and he's able to bully you, you know, and he can handle you the way he wants to. If he wants to move you in a way, he's gonna move you in a way.
Basically, what you're saying, he looks like Zach Martin at times. At times, with what not as consistent because he gets beat.
He'll lose here and there.
But there are some moments when it's like, all right. You know, I guess I'll go next. I mean,
sure.
I think he's done really, like she said, the strength is there. It's very evident. The question I have is, are we doing all this for what? Like, is he going to play guard next year?
That is a good question.
Just because with Lyell and all that stuff, I wonder if he's going to end up moving out. And I also wonder maybe if he is going to be the swing tackle this year. Even though he's going to start at guard, maybe he's the swing tackle.
We'll actually talk about that a little later. I have a question for you.
It could be because I don't know about 75.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
That's a really good point, and there's a conversation to be had about what the future holds. Connor looks great out here. Not so great that he hasn't taken his share of L's, especially to Malik Collins, which I gotta see it when
Malik's been handing out L's.
Number one so far in MVP of camp.
Top three for sure. Him, Woods. Him, Woods, and Gallup are probably my top three. Well, and
I actually like that. I like that too.
Two third-round picks and a fifth-round pick.
That's not including. I mean,
balling.
you can always throw Tyron up there, but like he takes veteran days and yada yada. So those three.
Yeah.
No offense to Malik Collins, he's great out here, but he's not the best defensive tackle Connor Williams is going to play this year. And I want to see it when the lights come on. It's, Fletcher Cox, Jonathan Allen, Aaron Donald.
Not in that order.
No. I'm throwing out guys on the schedule.
Whenever you say Aaron Donald, it's like, okay.
At the very least, Aaron Donald's not till December. You got Kenny Clark coming up in September. You got Snacks Harrison. Snooze in
Tampa?
Sue is in Tampa. Who is also on the schedule this year, aren't they? No, the preseason schedule.
Adam Redmond, all over that. No, he's not playing that.
Yeah, I was
going
to say Sue will not be playing that game.
Yeah, my point being, there's a lot of good DTs on the schedule this year. I want to see Connor do it when it matters.
But when it mattered in the playoff game and all eyes were on him, he did a nice job.
Absolutely. Next name, Travis Frederick. How's he been at camp? What's the biggest question mark for him? Besides the obvious, because I think that's the obvious question mark for him. Is there another question mark? Let's start with you, Dave.
I think it all rolls into one. Like he kind of looks like a guy who's coming back from a year-long absence. Like he's still trying to find his way and relearn the position and have it. He talked about muscle memory. I think he's trying to have it become just instinct instead of having to think about it. He hasn't looked bad by any stretch, but he hasn't been dominant. A big part of that, too, is because they've been resting him and not letting him work in one-on-ones, so we haven't seen as much of him as other guys. My question is, how does that translate to the regular season? I said a week or two ago that he's on my list of guys that I won't bet against. I still kind of feel that way, but it until we see it, we just can't assume he's going to play like an all-pro. So that's the big question for him is, how quickly can he reacclimate to this NFL thing?
Amber.
I see a lot of people on Twitter always asking, how's Travis? Is he going to be ready? Is he ready to go? Blah, blah. And it's like, you have to remember, this is a guy, the condition that he had was very serious. And he lost all his strength. He was limping around. It was a really sad thing to see. So it's going to take time. It's going to take time for him to regain all that strength and all that muscle. He knows the position. He knows. And when we've seen him going up, like, in plays, you see him being careful. He's not going all out, and trying to accelerate the process. He's taking it slow, and the great thing is because he is a veteran and he has the experience that he has, he's able to know his body and understand at what speed. You know, you're not dealing with a rookie that's trying to figure out, oh, am I hurt or am I just feeling sore? You know, he knows that, which is a plus. So I think he's being very cautious of himself and he understands where he's at, but he's making daily progress. Now, how fast and how soon we're going to see that going into the season, I don't know. But at least it's promising to see him where he's at from where he was at before.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend time on how he looks. He looks, okay at times. It's different, but, that's part of the process here. Two questions that I have. One is what I want to know and find out is when he's there, how much, even if he's not at 100%, is his 85% or 90 or whatever it is, from an awareness standpoint, how much that affects the team, especially down in the red zone, his recognition. Does that maybe make up for the fact that he doesn't have as much? And if that isn't the case, if he does struggle, where's his hook with the team? This is a captain, this is a veteran, but this is a head coach that doesn't have a contract next year. So how much are we going to try to spare someone's feelings if Joe Looney is a better player? That's what I wonder how long it'll take. If that is the case, can they say, you know what? This is a great story. We want you to get back and don't discourage you, but we got to make sure we don't lose this.
I'm the king of saying sit anybody that's been to a Pro Bowl, but it sounds like it would be a good idea to get him some extended play in the preseason just to see where he is. I mean, is he capable of doing this?
Right, before you get to the regular real action.
Do you think he would be kind of like Sean Lee as far as, not feeling butthurt if they chose not to put him out there? Sean Lee's mentality, how he's being a team player and he cares about – I mean, Travis is a team player too, but you know what I'm trying to say,
You never know until they're in that situation. I mean, there have been guys that I kind of thought would be that later I was like, nah, there was some chirps behind the scenes. So you just never know. I mean, guys take it very personally because this is their career.
I think Travis will be the first one to say, guys, I can't do this like I want to do. I think he would. I think he'd be like, listen, I know I have a high standard for myself, and I'm not hitting it. And if you see it, I definitely see it and feel it. I think it'll be okay if that happens.
Because he'd be the first one to recognize it.
I hope not, because I think if it's all even talent-wise, I still think he gives the Cowboys more. I mean, Looney, we all love Looney, but he was sacked 55 times. I mean, I don't think he sacked that many times with Frederick. I think this recognition of where the mic is and where things are, that he would do better than Looney. He does do better than Looney.
All right, Zach Martin.
Great.
Tell me how he looked before he got hurt.
He looked like Zach
typical
Martin.
Zach Martin?
He looked like Zach Martin.
Good. Any questions for him other than, I mean, obviously the back injury, as we talked about, when you talk about a back injury for a guy before the season begins, especially an offensive lineman, that is a huge question.
Yeah.
What do you guys think there? What are your thoughts on kind of how you approach the season, knowing that you're going in with already that against you at a very critical position?
Best case scenario is it's just a one-off, and having some downtime to rest it'll help him, and it won't be a big deal at all. But if I had to guess, we talked about this already, but the nature of the position, it's probably something he's going to have to just deal with. But by virtue of being an NFL player, there will be an army of people to help him deal with it the best way that he can. And he is also a tough son of a you-know-what. I mean, the fact that he did as much as he did last season with what he was going through is amazing. And, Zach Martin's 85% is better than most people's 100. So it's concerning, but not to the point that I'm rethinking the season.
I bet
you
she's the same way. I'm the same way. So I'll just ask this to everybody. When's the next time you want to see him in a game?
Giants.
Okay. Absolutely.
I don't want to see him in a uniform until now.
Yeah, I'm okay
and
with
I
him
know
not even
Zach Martin would disagree with that. He was like, I'm the type of guy that needs reps, and I'm like, that's awesome, and I appreciate you, but we're not going to let you do it.
Hold on, though. But the only thing I would say to that, and why it'd be a little bit different, is say we get to that third preseason game, and it's sort of a dress rehearsal, and here we are. Travis Frederick is now coming back and going to play in this game, and we want to get him those reps. Do you want to have your guy next to him?
Does that matter as much for –
I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, I'm kind of with Dave on this one, and I know he's always like that with vets, but in my opinion, when you got something like this that you feel like you might have to manage all year, the fewer reps, the better.
I'm not putting strain on him until it counts toward the postseason.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right, real quick, Lyle Collins. Tell me what you've seen from him or if there are any questions that you have at this point with regard to him.
He looks pretty good. I mean, yesterday was really good. Was fighting with. He looked like a boxer in there fighting.
That
with
was
them.
a nice little. That was a nice exchange between him and Tristan Hill.
Tristan Hill, man, that guy, kid is he's one of those like he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and it's,
and that's kind of good.
It's kind of good.
Yeah.
Off the air, I'll tell you. I said it when we were at practice. I said, you know who Tristan Hill is? He's Hellman.
Oh, good.
But then that was before he started fighting someone, so I don't know.
Dave
about
ain't
that.
throwing punches at nobody.
Saying I don't know what I don't know?
No,
That hurts.
not so much that. It was more. I'll explain it a little bit at the break. It was. I had people going, yeah, I see that. That's cool.
So you're just gonna leave the listeners like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes he just forgets that we got people listening. We're just having a conversation.
They
here.
don't.
We're having
I
some
can
fun.
imply whatever, and they don't know.
All right.
Lyle Collins is.
He's done.
He's a grizzly bear. Like he's a big, cuddly, chill dude most of the time. But man, don't piss him off. Do not.
He's sweaty most of the time. I don't know about cuddling.
Oh, stop it, Lyle. Whatever. You ruined my analogy.
As we saw the other day when he got beat one play, and the next two plays, you could tell he was not very happy.
You can beat him. You can beat him, but he will come right back at you. That's how I would describe
He ain't
it.
scared.
We kind of had an extended talk about him yesterday. He's playing well out here. He's not as effortlessly dominant as a Tyron Smith, but very few people are. I feel really good about him. Same. I mean, it's a physical position. He's had his injury issues too. He had back problems at the end of, I think it was 17. Like he was limping around and stiff as a board, and hopefully he can hold up well this time around, just like Tyron. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, I have a few questions about the position overall. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox, the makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crockpot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True, they even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of the break, live from Oxnard, California. This is the final practice for the Cowboys this morning at 10:45 Pacific time. Then we head out tomorrow, heading to San Francisco for the first preseason game of the 2019 season. I have a few more questions on the offensive line for these guys. Here's my first question. If there's an injury at guard, who's the most capable replacement, Joe Looney or Xavier Su'a-Filo?
I would like to see that play out over the course of training camp because I don't know the answer right now. Xavier Suafilo played well in spots last year. He also had his fair share of struggles. We've obviously seen way more of Looney at center than guard, but they gave him some run at right guard yesterday with the first team, which maybe tells you they want to see that too.
Xavier had been in that spot when Zach was out. Yeah,
it's curious that they made that move. I don't know the answer. It's nice that they're both there. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I was going to say that when the segment started it's funny how that happens. It's like, man, look at all this depth on the offensive line. Well, it's already being tested. I mean, Tyron's on a vet schedule. Zach is resting his back. Travis is on a vet schedule. Connor McGovern's pec issue has not let him get involved at all. So all of a sudden you're already kind of thin when you're trying to juggle 4 practices in a row.
Yep. I say Suafilo. I just think he's a better guard. I think he's a better starter. That doesn't mean he's going to be active over Looney. I think Looney would be the better guy to be active. But if we know going into the game that this guy's going to start, I think it would be Suafilo. He's undefeated last year. The Cowboys were undefeated when he started and finished the game. I think it was 7-0. So he came in off that Eagles game. The only game they lost was the Colts when he got hit in the eye, I guess, and didn't play, and then he didn't play in the Rams game. So when he's in there,
If there's an injury at tackle, who's a more capable replacement, Cam Fleming or Connor Williams? Amber.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean.
And let's assume that it is a longer injury. It's not like just to finish a game. You got to go into a game, you got to go into a series of games, and you need a replacement at tackle. Which one would you rather have out there?
Dang.
It's not about Connor Williams versus it's about Cam Fleming versus
Suafilo or Looney. Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard right now, honestly, because
what would you think?
I mean the best hope you have for Connor Williams right now is purely a projection. He's played tackle one time in OTAs when there were no pads. Nobody out here can tell me that they know how he'll play if he's out there. We haven't seen it.
So what he did in college.
I mean, he was a great college tackle. That doesn't mean a whole lot now.
I get it.
Especially a year removed. I mean, he's been at guard for a year now. So.
But you've seen Cam
and
what he can do.
Cam has had his struggles, but we talk about Dak as a practice player all the time. Cam kind of gets his butt kicked out here on a regular basis, but he's gone in. He went in last year over the course of 3 games, and he handled himself much better than Chaz Green did the year before.
Started a Super Bowl.
He started a Super Bowl.
Is not a guy
this is a guy with 20-plus career starts at tackle who has been adequate at least. So I'll take that guy over Connor until.
Can we see Connor?
I mean, I want to see
preseason game.
I would love to see Connor play some tackle. I want to see that. I just haven't yet.
I think that's the answer that for right now. I mean, we're talking about this season, but you get to the off season, you're like, should we re-sign? Let's say we don't re-sign Lyle, and you're like, well, should we re-sign Cam or should we try to move him out?
They don't have to re-sign Cam because they gave him a 2-year deal, which was smart on their part.
Okay, which one would you're going into an off season? I think everyone would say, you know what? I would like to see Connor at tackle in the offseason than play Fleming.
Right. Or Connor McGovern. Like
McGovern
got options.
Slides in.
Yeah, I'm saying you got more options hopefully next offseason than you have right now because McGovern will enter into the picture, right? You would hope.
My prediction is after I'm gonna mess up your game.
No, the game's done.
The game's done. Okay. after 4 seasons, my prediction. Let me just talk right. After 4 preseason games, I'm gonna predict that we're talking about a tackle that's really into this mix that we're not even talking about right now.
Really?
It could be Mitch Hyatt. It could be Brandon Knight.
Yeah.
It could be somebody like I guess those
a guy that you think is going to maybe make the team. And if he makes the team, does that push out one of these guys we were talking about right now?
Knight is interesting. I don't really know how he's playing because he does have position flex, right?
They've been playing him at guard because of these injuries.
Yeah, Hyatt's interesting because he was consensus All-American for a national championship team. That just holds weight.
But that screams you ought to be able to play.
Well, you see, it does, and then also 7 teams went through the 32 teams went through 7 rounds each.
Was there a reason, Dave? You might.
I don't know, Derek. Was there a reason he didn't get drafted?
I mean,
I'm just asking.
His strength is not great, and his foot quickness is not NFL standard. I mean, we see it all the time. Michael Sam,
measurables really his problem.
Michael Sam led the nation in sacks as a college defensive end and couldn't catch on in the pros. I mean, you see that type of stuff all the time. So that doesn't shock me. I mean, all of that stuff aside, if he could really play, nobody would give a damn.
Right.
So yeah, you see that stuff. But Knight is intriguing to me because they're moving him around. he's got a mean streak to him just like Lyle does. So I've got my eye on him.
Really? Mean streak?
Oh, yeah. He's nasty. Like, he's
nice.
Yeah.
Big nasty.
So that's something to watch.
If
I could look into the crystal ball, I bet when the season's over and we're moving into the next season, it's going to be like a lot of talk about Cam Fleming. Like, well, we like what he can do at tackle. He's done this. He's done that for us. And they're going to be real annoying about it, but then it's going to turn into Cam Fleming or Connor Williams. And the hope will be that Connor Williams wins that job.
And just to throw another name in there, I talked to a guy the other day about the offensive line a little bit. I was going to ask about 4 or 5 guys, and the first question the guy said, "You been watching? Adam Redmond looks pretty good." I was like, oh, okay, forget he's on the team. But really, I was like, yeah, he's looking real good. I'm like, okay,
it's hard
throw
to
him in the mix.
It's hard to juggle 15 of these guys at once.
Yeah. All right, guys, we appreciate you joining us. As you guys can hear in the background, the music is starting up. The Cowboys practice is underway. They have a 10:45 a.m. practice this morning, and then they'll be off to a walkthrough this afternoon, and then tomorrow off to San Francisco for their first preseason game. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!